The Dragon going over to Origen. They will go for the fight. Kyrie taking some damage. So as FLICKR in the back line, they managed to take down Cosq, but will be at the cost of their own lives. Down goes Mountain, down goes Cedrian. Triple kill comes out for FLICKR, and they will be closing out the game. Origen will be taking their second game in week 4. They are now 8-0. Marks above their head. Cedrian again is being pushed away by Libic, almost saved here. Mountain will be the first to drop. In fact, Zio will trade places with him. Another Cedrian goes down. Libic right over the wall, and Kubon is still on the hunt.
But Ica, no cleanse.
Yeah, no cleanse, and there comes the Frozen 2 coming out. Zio takes another tower shot. Gilius comes in for the cleanup. He gets one. Gilius, oh, there's the soul up there coming down. Another ice shot as well from Take Fun. He's got his double buffs. He's reclaimed it. And Heaver, one more auto attack. There's the red buff ticking as well. Triple kill for Take Fun. Welcome to the European Challenger Series Spring Split Playoffs. I'm Richard Polscam, and alongside James Stress O'Leary as per usual, and it's time for day 2 of the semi-finals. So before we get proceedings underway, let's take a look at today's schedule and what's going to be coming up, as well as what happened yesterday, because Lowland Lions took down Gamers 2 2-0 in that best of 3. And that of course means today we have Origen and Reason Gaming.
Yeah, very convincing performance yesterday out of the Lowland Lions. That puts them into the final. Today, we're going to decide exactly who will be joining Lowland Lions White in the final and who will join Gamers 2 in our 3rd place game as well.
Yes, indeed. Lowland Lions have already secured their spot in the grand finals, and Gamers 2, they just need to await who they'll have as their opponent. Could be either Origen or Reason Gaming. Of course, Origen are the favourites, I think, coming into this one for sure.
I think that has to be said, but as well, a little bit different from what we saw at the end of last week with regards to Reason Gaming. Reason Gaming are now in the playoff stages, and that's due to a competitive ruling earlier this week against Team Dignitas EU. They decided not to participate in the playoffs, and as such, they relinquished their playoff spot, and they forfeit all playoff prize money as well.
Yeah, and if you want to get full context on this decision, head over to lolesports.com to read the full competitive ruling on Team Dignitas EU during one of our breaks.
Yep. But while you're on LOL Esports as well, you should check out the article that we just published from David Freak Turley. He did an article entitled Welcome to the Challenger Series Spring Playoffs. That'll give you everything you need to know to get yourself ready for the playoffs. We're already halfway through, but there is still time to get that last-minute information. And also, while you're there, make sure you book your ticket for the Challenger Finals next week on Wednesday to see the teams, including Lowland Lions, in our studio here in Berlin.
Well, I'd like to think we're a quarter of the way through, because we haven't played today's games yet.
True.
So we've got a little while to go. But time to get into our second semi-final, best of 3, with Origen and Reason Gaming. As you just mentioned, Stress, due to the competitive ruling on Team Dignitas EU, Reason have been given a second chance. And while this will be a difficult match for them, remember this is the Reason Gaming that took Origen to 50 minutes and were on the very cusp of winning in that game. That was all the way in back on week 2. So they've come a long way since then. As for Origen, they came out of playoffs with only 1 loss at the hands, or I guess paws, of the Lions. And apart from that, have looked like a future LCS team. Every player has proven they can carry games on their own, and with so many threats, that's just such a scary team to face.
Very scary team, and you know, I'm not sure for Reason Gaming's chances right now exactly how they fare. Reason had a very up and down bracket or group stage. When you look at it, they beat a few teams that they should have been beating, lost to the teams that were really above them or expected to be above them. They ended tied with Team Dignitas EU as well, but Reason, they still have the potential there. We always say that when casting Reason, when they're on form, they're still quite good, but it is going to be their toughest test to date. On the other side, Origen, they had a minor blip last week against Lowland Lions, who looked very composed in their win over Origen in that first game of the series. But other than that, very straightforward. 9 games didn't exactly look too uncomfortable for Origen at all.
Yeah, I mean, I was speaking to Origen, and they were like, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen today. Today should be a much more consistent performance. But let's take a look at that Origen lineup. So it is Soaz in the top lane, Amazing in the jungle, FLICKR in the mid lane, with Niels and Miffy as the AD carrying support lane and the bot lane.
Everybody knows the Origen lineup by now, but their opponents over on the red side, some familiar faces here with Kubon in the top lane, Zayu in the jungle, Take Fun in the mid lane with Celiva and Libic in the bottom lane as AD carry and support.
Yeah, some familiar faces in this one, but in this matchup, let's take a look at the AD carries, because on Reason Gaming, it's the ex-LCS AD carry Celiva against a potential future LCS AD carry Niels. And when in Roccat, Celeber was never really the carry of the team, and while he's been in Challenger, yes, he's put up the numbers, but we've also said it ourselves, he's a quiet AD carry. I've never thought that Celeber has really one-man carried Reason Gaming. However, Niels, he's on a team of carries and has shone multiple times despite that.
Niels has been looking pretty sharp this group stage as a whole. I mean, in our broadcasted Wednesday games, he basically went unkilled until the very last week, and his champion diversity has been pretty good as well. But the biggest thing between these two AD carries is the KDA. In the last 10 games, we took a look, and Niels, is 14.5 overall as a KDA to Celeber's 3.79. There's a big difference there. Celeber does play most of the champions that Niels plays, but Niels has shown us the differences with like his Cogmore when they've been trying to play the Juggermore comp, and really Niels offers a lot more versatility to Origen than Celeber seems to do for Reason.
Yeah, it's actually very funny because Origen seems to turn up on days where they're being broadcasted. So when the spotlight's on them, they perform really well. When no one's watching, it's just like, we don't need to show up for the game. But they've done well regardless. 9-1 in the round robin is nothing to sniff at for sure. And Reason Gaming will be feeling it for sure as we get into this one.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly are a team where when the light is on them, they turn up. And that bodes well for when you're playing kind of in a LAN scenario. But this is still online. The lights are on bright, so we'll see which team can come out ahead. Yeah,
and we'll see the start of that as we get into Champion Select and see where the bans and the picks lie in this one. So Origen, they were the higher seed, of course, taking the #1 seed, so they did select blue side for games 1 and 3. And this is, of course, game 1, so they're on the blue side. So we'll see where their ban champions go. The first one's going to be up at Kubon as the Fizz, and a faster quick fire back in the form of Lulu. And then Nidalee from Origen.
Yeah, I like this Lulu ban coming out from Reason. Origen are one of the only challenger teams that have shown us the Juggermore style comp, and we talked a lot on LCS this past week, how Lulu kind of pins that all together, gives you a lot of versatility on a first pick side, on blue side, so Reason getting that out of the way. A lot of high power bans coming out here.
Yeah, I'd argue that Origen on Juggermore is a bit of a coin flip, but we'll see where this one goes. Zed will be aimed at Take Fun, of course, those big assassin champions that he likes in the mid lane, starting to take those away. LeBlanc as well, Take Fun plays, but has been banned away from XPEC in this one by Reason Gaming, and they'll finish up by banning away Maokai from SOAS.
An interesting one here, because as much as SOAS has played champions like Maokai, typically he's been playing a lot of Morgana up in that top lane role. We saw, actually, the last time these two played, SOAS played Morgana, and they did that double banner of command strategy as well. That was in the Tuesday game, but there's been a lot of bans focused just at, as you said, the assassins from Zed coming out here, bans against Take Fun. Origen are a little bit different of a team. They don't exactly have those 1 or 2 champions that you can say, this is what they're going to play, let's ban that. So Reason, a little bit smarter with their bans, banning things that are strong and versatile.
Yeah, feels like the shotgun strategy. It's just ban out a bunch of things and hope that something sticks. And Origen, they always have the champion pools to play around, that their strategy will continue to adapt. And they already just pick up the Gragas, presumably for the jungle, so they just lock that one in early. Swajani, of course, is still available. This is 5.6, so we did have the Swajani changes coming in, where the ult and the damage from W have been changed. Ult now doesn't slow 90% if you whiff it, it's only 30%.
Right, yeah, we are on 5.6. That's, as you mentioned, that is the key thing here for this patch, for when we go through. So what are we looking for here on the first rotation? They're going to lock in both their solo laners.
Yeah, so Ari comes in for Take Fun. He is a champion he's played a bunch of times, and also the Hecarim for the top lane for Kubon. Seen lots of top laners in the Challenger Series attempt this pick, and we'll see if Kubon can drive it home.
We will see. I mean, we saw Xaxus trying it for Maus, didn't really get the engages off that they wanted. So, I mean, this is quite a powerful duo of solo laners right now. You've got laners that have lane presence and the potential to set up fights. You look at a pick potential from Ari or the engage potential from Hecarim. I actually like this. This is quite a strong first 2 picks out of Reason Gaming. We'll have to see what Origen will answer with. There's the Corki, and actually, okay, so Rek'Sai has been locked in as well. This, I would imagine, will be Gragas top lane, as we have seen a couple of times. Yep. So the Gragas was actually a flex, and now they've locked in a very strong set of jungle and AD carries here. Expect there to be a massive power spike here when the Corki Trinity Force hits for Niels.
Yeah, it's all about the mid game so far for the Origen composition. We'll see how Reason Gaming respond. They have locked in the support of Janna. coming in for the support role, but we'll see what they do for the jungle. Sejani would make sense. There's still a lot of people touting her as one of the strongest junglers past Gragas and past Rek'Sai, which they've also taken that away from Reason Gaming. So even if they wanted the Rek'Sai, they couldn't have it, and Nidalee's been taken away.
I really think it's smart to take away the Rek'Sai here. Zayu is a player who loves to get on the earlier game junglers. We know he plays a lot of Lee Sin normally, so taking away this kind of setup with Rek'Sai Ahri, where you can potentially get quite a few kills, or Rek'Sai Hecarim in the same kind of manner, actually just takes away a lot of what Reason could have opted for here.
Yeah, so they do eventually lock in that Sejani for Zayu in the jungle. I do agree that it is kind of further away from his typical playstyle, so hopefully that throws a curveball in the mix for Origen onto Reason. Now, we're just waiting for their last 2 picks into this one. Waiting on a potential mid laner, or, mid laner and indeed the support for Origen.
And over on Reason, we're waiting for the AD carry. We've been discussing Seliver a little bit here. He's only played 5 different champions, which actually with AD carries is a fair amount of versatility when you look at it. He's tended towards Kalista in the most of the games, then Corki now off the table. Other champions he's played has been Jinx and Lucian, so I wonder whether he'll go for something that has lane presence or something that has a little bit more scaling, but still a lot of ambiguity in this composition from Origen. I expect that to be a mid lane Lissandra now, with that Gragas staying in the top lane.
Yeah, I think so too. Again, those two could swap, but it's fairly unlikely. We do have the Annie now coming in, so we do have that bot lane secured. Again, we could just see lane swap-ups as well, so literally all of these lanes from Origen could go anywhere in the beginning of the game. That's something that'll be preying on the minds of Reason Gaming as they look for their AD carry in this one. Do have some backline charge because they have the Hecarim, they have the Sejani. Saw that run yesterday, in fact, by Gamers 2. Didn't do too well. They kind of went into the backline and all died. So hopefully it works better in this case for Reason Gaming.
Hopefully so. We are still waiting on the AD carry. It looks like they really are discussing this Tristana quite a lot potentially. Now, Triss did get those changes and could potentially be what Reason are looking for here. We know Seliver has experience, you know, in a lot of games, and he's comfortable on champions that scale later into the game. Just haven't quite locked it in yet. A little bit more time left on this counter, but what a Tristana pick would kind of do is give Reason the ability to go later into the game. Their composition right now is fairly mid-game focused, and later scaling, you kind of have a little bit less damage. So with the Tristana locked in, they now kind of curve out that side of their game plan.
Yeah, so they now have the Ahri for the mid lane. Yeah, I'm going to swap that up. It's not going to be AD carry Ahri, but yeah, so they do have kind of power spikes all over the place, and hopefully they can bring that to Origen.
And one thing Origen have to combat some power spikes is the amount of burst damage and also disruption in teamfights. You look at an Annie Tibbers engage, you've got Lissandra getting into the backline, Rek'Sai into the backline, Gragas pulling the front line or the backline different ways across a fight. There's a lot that Reason Gaming are going to have to keep timers of here from Origen's side so that they don't get caught out in a 1 versus 2 situation and blown up instantly.
Yeah, it's actually going to be very difficult when they start hitting like dragon fights, because you look at this composition, it's all going to really be down to the Hecarim and whether he can get the home guard, because he should have home guards by then and then try and jump in with the teleport home guard strat. But if you're against like a Gragas who'll one knock you away, there's a lot to disrupt that as he goes, and even Lissandra, a well-timed Ring of Frost, could be very difficult to play against. But as we do get into game, head over to Twitter and use those hashtags OGWin and RGWin to punch in your vote, and we'll be checking in throughout the game on what you guys think at home.
We will. Well, what we think at home is that this... at home.
Well, we're not at home. So.
Yeah, this is where I stay.
Yeah, just under the desk, you just appear on show days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's how it works. Every week, I'm just always here. Never want to leave.
Today I learned. But we are going to get into this one. It is Origen versus Reason Gaming in this first game of this best of 3 in the semi-final. This is our final semi-final before we get to the finals next week.
A lot of finals.
A lot of finals.
Lots and lots of finals.
Oh.
Which is ironic, because the final should be the last one.
Okay, so Origen heading out of their base, moving into this mid lane. We'll see if we see a scrap in the early game. I believe I want to say last week, but yesterday was the most bloodthirsty level 1 we've seen for a while.
Yeah, we had that pretty crazy...
Only one person died, but everyone was fighting in that top lane.
So one of the last 2 times these 2 teams met, there was a level 1 invade that looked very similar to this. This was the one where they had the Veigar support, and Soaz is actually going over the back wall. He's going to come around on Zayu. Zayu died at level 1 in the last time these two teams played.
Yeah,
are we going to
just
see a
laugh at me.
repeat of that again? Here comes the body slam out of So as he gets it.
Now's not the time to be laughing. Miffy comes in with the stun. There's the
Deja
follow-up.
vu.
Flash, 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 dead.
It's the same. This is exactly the same kind of play that Origen did against Reason in game 1 of their group stage. Zayu died in exactly the same spot.
Yeah. He thought he was having a laugh off with his opponents.
Well, Origen certainly had the last laugh.
Yeah, they did. They're laughing all the way to the bank.
However, how many flashes did they use? Because that was 4 flashes. Trading for 1 flash from Zayu, and they get the kill. What did they trade it into? A Doran's Ring here for Gragas. So that should help his laning phase out quite immensely. It just depends on where the swaps end up here. We know Kubon, looking at his items, is going to go for that start with Onia Flask start, go back, get some items. If he's in a lane swap, could very well be that cloth armor that we've seen a couple of times. But Reason don't look too certain on this either. They were kind of waiting just to maybe not pass a ward, but
they've finally done so.
They've passed the ward, and you can see that Mithy is actually recalling already. Rather than look to even show himself and set up a freeze there in the top lane, he just instantly gets himself out.
Yeah, they are determined to not get Corki in that 1-on-2. Sullivan now going down. It's just mind games left, right, and center, but that ward only just died, so they have seen Selva and Libic heading into the bottom side of the map. Does that now mean that Origen will try and get to the top side? Not quite the case. Niels is like, I'm done walking around the map. I just want to farm. I'm an AD carry. Miffy heading in there as well, so they will eventually get that one down, and it will be the 1-on-1 in the top lane. Kubon, now in that 1-on-1, has allowed him to go for those boots.
Yes, that was the point that I was going to bring up. His boots is now going to give Hecarim that little bit more damage, a lot more mobility in the lane as well, and Soaz managed to hit level 2 with having that kill as well. So no real experience advantage, maybe a teeny bit in favor of Soaz, but Amazing knows that Zayu has to be careful throughout his own jungle and will steal it away. Now he's going to spot him out with Tremor Sense.
Yeah, he'll see where he's going, and that'll mean Zayu has to chill in mid lane for a little bit, maybe even take the long route, or just recall straight up. The red buff is still alive. Amazing is going to ward it up. He has the Tremor Sense as well, and he'll be using that Prey Seeker to drag it around the wall here. Cinderho, or rather the red buff is not cooperating quite how he would have liked, but there we go. Now into the bush, and he has pulled out those Cinderlings as well, so Zayu heading back to base. Amazing comes out with the free buff start as long as he can get to his own red buff in time. Yeah,
and that's the real question here, because Zayu, he backed because he couldn't just go straight to the red because he didn't know where Amazing was going straight away. Now Zayu's going to have a little bit more information, knowing exactly that red buff is gone, so it's going to be a tough game for Zayu to get back into. And remember, Sejuani's early clear did get reduced here, so a little bit less damage on Sejuani's kit is going to make it even tougher for Zayu to get back into this game.
Yeah, and Zayu has always really been about that early game. His bot lane does get harassed. Wow. Selva taking quite a lot of damage from that fast bomb, followed by the auto attacks from Miffy, showing their presence in the bottom lane. But Zayu, talking about him, he is heading into the top lane. He'll be warding that Tribush, but he's walking over a ward from Soaz as well, so they know he's there. And all Soaz will try to do is kind of, yeah, Zayu knows where he is. Soaz was backing off just a little bit, trying to waste some of his time. And we'll just wait for this minion wave to come into him. But Zayu has generally been about the early game, whereas Amazing has liked to go for those carry junglers. He actually has some of the highest damage dealt out of the junglers so far in the Challenger series, so likes to do a lot of that carrying from the jungle role. As we mentioned before when we were talking about the teams, pretty much everyone can be a carry on Origen. That's difficult to play against.
Zayu's actually just sitting up in that top lane. He just sat there and leached experience for a while from Kumon because he really had no other option until Raptor Camp came back up. Yep. Because Amazing, as you can see, is again in Zayu's jungle here, taking away another camp, and that reduces Zayu's ability to do anything. There's no way a Sejuani is going to go into a Rek'Sai's jungle. That is suicidal. So just taking away these small camps every so often forces Zayu either to leech from his lanes or just to take the small amount of camps that are around and try and get into lanes for ganks. There's flashing up on Selva in the bottom lane, constant pressure being put out on the map by Origen.
Yep, Zayu now heading into his jungle. We'll find that his wolves have been taken down. He'll have to go for the small ones. You still get a small amount of experience from that, but Amazing is really just running rampant so far into that jungle. He's almost level 5 compared to Zayu, who is still level 4 himself. He does have that razor sharp buff that he did get from smiting the Raptors to take away this ward, but now Amazing knows where he is. This is an interesting spot. He has his flash coming up in a couple seconds, so he might try and go for the mid lane.
And this is something that Origen actually do fairly often, is Amazing will just sit here and read how the lane is going on the enemy mid laner here. You can see Amazing just patiently waiting it out, doesn't have to force things anytime soon.
Here
and now they're going to go. Ooh.
Yeah, comes in with the tunnel. Take Fun, he did burn his ultimate, didn't use either summoners, but he'll use the last couple charges to farm out the minion wave as it heads under turret. So, not the worst in the world. FLICKR still has both his ultimate and all his summoners.
Yeah, I mean, getting the ultimate pretty much for free there is going to be a pretty safe win there for Origen as well. Ari not having that for the next minute or so is going to make her a little bit more vulnerable than she normally would be, but back up to this top lane, you can see that even though Soaz got that first blood gold, Kuban is being a little bit pesky, a little bit difficult to deal with here. He's up on CS, but Soaz did just back, as did Hecarim as well. Both teleports are available, so any kind of dragon shenanigans early on will be responded to.
Yeah, there goes the taunt. But yeah, Kuban has not gone for the Home Guards just yet, didn't have the funds for it. But Soaz is actually looking towards maybe even a Lich Bane, maybe a Triforce. He's definitely looking towards the Sheen with the Amptome and Blue Crystal coming in here, the Sapphire Crystal. So we'll see where that one goes into. Very interested in the build in general, because this is a top lane Gragas rather than the jungle one.
Yeah, it is interesting as well, because so top lane Gragas we saw a good few months ago when Maokai really had his prominence back last season. And it is top lane that they're going for, but that was a bit of a whiffed explosive cast there again, and Kuban has his ultimate, so we'll be able to get out. But what you used to do on Gragas was you go Rod of Ages, and then just become tanky and get a lot of tank stats and AP at the same time. So very interesting that we're actually seeing Soaz going for what is potentially a Sheen build here, plus maxing Q rather than what a lot of players used to do towards the end of Gragas going out, which was you max W and basically just bonk people on the head with that cast, and it just really hurt with his W. So we haven't seen a lot of top lane Gragas recently, but that was what we used to see out of Gragas, and it looks like it is no longer the case. Yeah,
actually in EU we did see some players pick up the Lich Bane as a first item in career as well, so we might see the same in this game. It depends what he goes for. He might even go for Iceborne Gauntlet. It could be anything from that Sheen, but if, Amazing now heading into his jungle. Second line of buffs has just started to spawn. Zayu has managed to hit 6 himself despite all that early counter jungling, and will be going on to this dragon. There is currently no vision control. Actually, I think he did step over a ward, but with Reason Gaming coming in from the bot lane, they should be able to take this one unless Origen are able to do something. But I mean, Amazing's on the top side of the map.
Yeah, Amazing being the other side of the map is just good use of timing here by Reason. Amazing prioritizes the red buff over the dragon, and he actually got spotted going over the back wall. So now he's actually in a 1 versus 2 situation. Soaz nowhere near. Amazing knows that he's been found. He
needs to get out of the charm. He does do so, but that's the ultimate coming out from Kuban as well. Goodbye, Amazing. He was actually going over a pink ward into that, so he would have seen it. He was actually probably just looking at the red buff rather than his own screen. But Miffy and Niels coming into the bot lane again, getting the damage onto Saliver. But this is a good early start for Reason Gaming, despite being behind just a little in terms of gold, but they did pick up the first dragon.
Really good response to how this game started out by Reason Gaming. So their thought process on this is, we know Amazing is going to want to contest our red buff again, because he's already done it in this game. He has the timer. So let's prioritize the lower side of the map and just ward up and make sure. Amazing went over the Baron wall, but actually didn't spot the pink ward because he went past the bush rather than through it. Now Zayu is here, actually standing still, but he's on a ward, so Amazing knows that he is there. And this is looking to be a 2 versus 2 up here, but Zayu has his ultimate now, and that is a lot scarier a prospect when Sejuani has an ult than when she doesn't. In they go.
It will be coming very soon. FLICKR comes in from the sidelines, just get the Frozen Tomb down onto Zayu. Kuban blasted away by the explosive cask, and Amazing and FLICKR are looking for more onto Kuban. Last tower shot will be taking down Amazing for the 1-for-2 trade in favor of Origen.
Yeah, Amazing just overstaying a teeny bit in that fight. Couldn't drop the turret aggro before Kuban died there, but nevertheless it's a 2-for-1 in favor of Origen. But Takefun has been pushing this mid lane at the same time, and that could become problematic, because if that mid lane tower falls anytime soon, Takefun will be out on the map, and could dangerously roam towards that bottom lane.
Yeah, so now that we're 10 minutes into the game, we can take a look at some of the items and just the general scoreboard and how things are going. So in the mid lane, we do have that Morellonomicon now picked up by FLICKR, and then Take Fun looking towards maybe even the Ludens. He has picked up the Aether Wisp. In the bot lane, we can see a big CS differential, 89 farm to 54, so large advantage to Niels. So far, we haven't had any jungler intervention down there, sort of been winning straight up 2v2. He's well on his way to his Trinity Force, whereas Celiva had to go for his pickaxe and an Avarice Blade, so he's just trying to stick in the game and try and get as much gold as he can to get to that first power spike.
Man, that is a massive CS difference between the two AD carries, and we talked about them coming into this game and who was going to have more effect. Certainly, Origen are well on the way to that Trinity Force power spike timing that we already discussed, but Reason, they're going to pressure out the wards here from Origen, kill a couple, and then make their way back down to bottom lane. But Celiva really needs to get some farm from somewhere if he wants any hope of getting into this game, and he's not getting it yet.
No, he's kind of waddling back and forth, and it's like, well, there's no Gromp, there's a crab, but it's a little far away. FLICKR in the mid lane, there's the Frozen Tomb, right onto Take Fun. Amazing coming into this one as well. He does not have flashes. Take Fun burns his ultimate. He even managed to keep hold of his flash, so he's not going to be too unhappy with that result. He only really lost his ultimate.
What it does, though, is allow Amazing to push out.
Nope.
Thought Take Fun had that for a second, but allows Amazing to push deep into the enemy jungle again. Zayu's going to come for a repeat gank here in this middle lane. FLICKR has his flash, but he's out of mana, so he will decide to back anyway. And speaking of mana, that's one thing that Take Fun hasn't opted for yet. We haven't seen any mana itemization, and that becomes problematic when he wants to trade constantly in lane. He now is just saving up for one basically all in here, using everything onto somebody and not relying on having to use more than one rotation of skills.
Well, Zayu is sat in the bot lane, maybe waiting for a gank to happen, or he's just chilling. Could be either of the two. So far, Zayu has just been looking for counter ganks, and the last one did not go too well, but he's going to try his gank in the bot lane and get seen by the minions. Is like, nah, not this time. He will be going for the crab, though. We'll be taking that consolation prize. Or no, he's going to go straight past the crab. Crab gets to live for another day.
Crab's a pacifist, man.
Yep. He's worth gold, so...
Wow. Is that what you're saying? It doesn't matter whether somebody's innocent.
I mean, he's worth gold.
We learned something about
vision.
Pulse here today.
I mean,
we also are learning that Origen have got a lot of damage down onto Reason Gaming's turret, and they will take the first one of the game here. Yeah, so they do trade, well, they don't trade it, but they do have that one tower to the first dragon of the game, which went to Reason Gaming. Coincidentally, that dragon is coming up in 1 minute 30 as Livic in the bot lane gets chunked hard by Miffy and the damage from Niels, but they'll have to make a hasty retreat as Kubon is coming in from base with the home gods. There comes the ultimate, the Onslaught of Shadows, takes down Miffy. Can they get in a kill in response though, because Soaz is there. There's the whiffed ultimate by Zayu, not going to be doing too much, but Take One from the mid lane as well. All 5 members from Reason Gaming are in the bot lane. Amazing arrives to the party a little too late, as does FLICKR. A nice 2-0 trade for Reason Gaming. Great 2-0. They get one of the kills at least onto Take Fun there as well. And Celiva very importantly picks up his first of the game here as well. So Reason really needed that trade to get their mid and AD carry into this game. Hopefully that'll be enough for them maybe to stop the onslaught here from Origen as they reach some really big items.
Yeah, and talking about items, that mid lane of Take Fun did go towards the Luden's Echoes, so he's going to have that large amount of damage in the early game. And a decent amount of wave clear to boot. But in the top lane, Soaz did go for that Lichbane first. So, yes, we did see that a couple of months ago, but Lichbane first is an interesting item as there's no AP currently for it to scale off. So it's only just scaling off itself. So it's not the huge amount of damage in the world, but it is a lot of damage from his bonk with W.
This time Amazing will prioritize Dragon and actually, Take Fun.
There's the flash, there's the ultimate onto Take Fun. Amazing comes in with the knock-up as well. He'll be going down. And Miffy will fire off a warning shot towards Zayu. Don't come any closer. We'll do that to you as well.
Oh man, no tower available for Take Fun there as he stepped a little too far forward towards FLICKR, who will use his flash to just make sure he secures that kill. Knows that he's confident, especially with Dragon coming up as well. Good timing out of Origen to make sure that they can secure this one.
Yeah, he was definitely worth the flash. He died before even the Frozen Tomb had dissipated, so he didn't get to use ult or his flash. So Take Fun, he has those summons available, but that is the first dragon going over to Origen. Now it's 2 dragons total and 1 apiece to both Origen and Reason Gaming. This game is still very close, but Origen is still pulling ahead 93%.
Oh, that's not close.
On the fan vote. That's not close. And hopefully Origen can maybe pull further ahead. Zayu comes forwards again, whips the ultimate. Take Fun comes in though, and no mana on xPeke. He's got nowhere to run. The Ignite was ticking down, but the Flail picks it up from Zayu, so he'll be taking up that kill. Maybe would have liked it to go into Take Fun, but hey, a kill's a kill.
Both mid laners playing a little bit sloppy here, not respecting the potential for other junglers to be around, and if xPeke and Take Fun keep trading kill after kill like that, we're in for a bit of a bloodthirsty series when you look at things. Lots of damage down in the bottom lane as well, coming out from Niels. Couldn't quite get that turret because of the Janna shield as well, and Zayu just shows himself to try and deter them, but next push could potentially make it topple over.
Yeah, Niels is now 150 farm, which is pretty much perfect from an AD carry at this point in the game, where Celever is only lagging behind on 100 CS, 99 at this point, and that Trinity Force has been picked up by Niels at only 16 minutes. Pretty good going. Miffy comes in with the flash tip as the stun as well. Celever will have to jump away with Rocket Jump, and there comes the Rocket as well to send them packing. That's the bottom tower also falling to Origen. So they shove away the competition, and they'll be having to take a trip back to base.
To put that in perspective between the AD carries right now, that means for every 3 CS that Niels is getting, one of them they're pressuring away from Celever as well. That means every 3rd creep, Celever's getting forced away from his minion wave because he can't deal with this Corki in the Annie. And that's a really big problem if they can't get Celever to free farm on his own. Now that turrets have fallen in top and bottom, that should be a lot easier to do here with the Tristana, but it's Soaz that needs a little bit of protection. Kuban.
Stop that.
Yeah.
Yeah, a nice Q to the face of Hecker, and we'll stop him with his Rampage coming in. And we'll see what else they choose to take this. So in the mid lane currently, it is 140 farm to Take Fun, who is still sitting on his Ludens, compared to Peke, who's now finished both his boots and also a needlessly large rod. Gone for the Merc Treads as well, so that will be allowing him to get out of some of the burst damage from the heavy AP coming out from Take Fun. Multiple times the mid lanes have been going and trading, and there's Peke picking up the blue buff as well. And now we're kind of getting into a more of a lull period in the game here, Stress, as the teams just kind of collect their thoughts, take all the camps that they can, maybe even take the crab. Niels has the right idea. That's worth gold.
It is
Got
worth
it.
gold.
54 gold.
I mean,
that's pretty value. Taking a trip to Value Town in this one.
It's worth even more gold if you're a jungler.
It is, yeah.
It is, yeah. But, you know, one thing I want to take a look at is, out of these junglers, the one thing that separates these 2 teams from some of the other teams we have in Challenger, which sounds weird when you look at their seedings being 1st and 4th respectively, is these 2 teams are actually better at warding than our other teams. Origen has the highest wards per minute count, Reason Gaming have the 2nd. A lot of it is due to their junglers constantly picking up Sightstone. They always play junglers, seemingly, that can build a Sightstone, and you can see that Zayu's had his for a while. Amazing has got his now as well. And Origen are very good at taking away the vision control and establishing their own. I wonder whether Reason can keep up with it. So far, oh, double sweeper. I was about to sing their praises. Oh, wow, okay.
Devastating charge onto Soaz. Lots of damage coming through. And after killing a million as well, so.
Soaz isn't building any kind of tank stats or resistances. When you look at things, he's not gone for a Rod of Ages or a Righteous Glory or anything like that that's going to allow him to stack up. He's opting for a Lich Bane and then, you know, further AP items on top of that.
Oh, Zayu gets away with the blue buff, so he did secure that for himself, and now Amazing and Niels have gone past that ward. Again, looking for the devastating charge. Be body slamming away from that, so we'll be taking the damage in the top lane. But you can see how on the back foot Soaz is. He's not able to push up in his lane. He's just really clearing the minion waves and just trying to stop the stampede of Hecarim in the top lane currently. And we'll see what's happening in this bot lane, because they're still trying to pressure this turret, but it's 3 versus 3. And there's a decent amount of wave clear from Celever, especially when this procs off. Goodbye minion wave. I'll take Fun heading into the top lane, trying to just make something happen. Soaz, however, is recalling in that further back bush, and they may just give up this tower. In fact, it's down to about 50% HP, so this is a goner.
Yep, that's an easy tower to take here, and you know, Reason, they've reached a power spike of their own. You look at it, Trinity Force has been completed onto Kuban with the Home Guards, but Origen deep into the enemy jungle, and clearing things out. You can see that Trinity Force completed on Corki as well, so this is Origen's time that they really want to be pressuring out objectives, and they're pushing up into mid. They may be about to get surrounded if they're not careful of Take Fun, who was looking to cross through mid, but knew that that would be a dangerous path for him to take as well. He's going to do it anyway, just throwing caution to the wind.
So far, Origen have not crushed Reason Gaming, so a lot of people coming into this were kind of expecting that to be the case, but Reason Gaming have really held their own. I know they've been practicing a lot over the last couple of weeks, preparing for playoffs, and it was a big hit to morale after being eliminated, but this second chance has really just given them a breath of fresh air, and they have come back into this with even more motivation, because they only have 2 chances. They can try and beat Origen here, progress to the grand finals, or drop down and try and challenge Gamers 2, who I might add looked very shaky yesterday. So Reason Gaming do have a very good chance at making the promotion tournament, no matter the result coming into this.
And this is a very different game from yesterday as well when you look at the Lowland Lions and Gamers 2 series. That was very fast-paced, very kind of balls to the walls. Kuban
well, it might start getting fast-paced because there comes the ultimate onto Kuban. He'll be losing Onslaught of Shadows to get away from the fight, but Niels is dropping low. Goodbye to the AD carry and looking for Celiva to maybe deal some more damage, but he's dropped low himself. And they'll be taking this crab, hopefully trying to get that gold over that team, and of course the Shrine and the Vision, which has been reduced in 5.6 and can't actually see inside the pit, but when it's dragged out like that, they can definitely see the dragon.
Yeah, they can. Teleport comes through from Kuban.
And will not be using the devastating charge to get in for the fight. The dragon is dropping low. It's going to come down to a smite war. Amazing just not trying to get in range for it, though. It was a 4v5, especially with Kuban off to the sidelines, did not want to make that the case.
That is Reason taking their second dragon of the game as well. And that fight looked so good, but Niels, for once, just not quite in the right position, got blown up by Take Fun from the side. Ooh, Kuban's going to land a lot of damage onto Miffy.
The devastating charge again onto Miffy. There's the rampage. He goes down in an instant, living from the side. He will come in with a Flash Monsoon and keep the Hecarim alive. I thought he was a horse, but apparently he's got 9 lives. He's a cat in this one.
May very well be, but Origen are not respecting Reason Gaming at all right now. They are constantly trying to be aggressive, and yes, they have been ahead and are still ahead, but you can't just stand there when you can see a teleport being channeled by a Hecarim that has a Trinity Force and Home Guard boots and not say, hey, I should probably back away from this. Origen, they need to just tighten up their game a little bit, not be too optimistic about their own play, because honestly that's part of the reason why they lost to Lowland Lions is Kyrie got very far ahead and Origen didn't respect that and they lost.
Yes.
And they've got to be careful it doesn't happen again.
Well, the tower is also on the receiving end of devastating charges from Hecarim, and that will be crumbling in the mid lane, so Reason Gaming looking to connect the tower advantage and try and get even with Origen, who are still 3-2. But in terms of gold, they've been leading all the way through this game, but it's not been by a significant margin. It's been by a moderate one, around 3,000 gold ahead for the last couple of minutes, despite how all of these fights have been going. So while they're slightly ahead, they need to do a little more with that, because mid lane Take Fun has picked up his death cap now. And as you mentioned, that power spike onto Kuban, he's got the Trinity Force, had that for a while now. And in the bot lane, Celiva has finally completed an advantage.
And I'm a little bit worried for Origen's scaling when you look at things. The fact that Gragas is building predominantly AP so far, I'd like to see him start itemizing a little bit towards tank now as well, because they're going up against a Tristana who is going to scale well into the late game. They have a Corki who won't do quite so well against tanky Sejuanis and Hecarims and the like. They need to be more proactive. They need to get further ahead right now before their comp kind of outscales itself.
Yeah, Soaz, I'm not entirely sure what he's been doing this game. I mean, like, he's been farming in the top lane, he's got the Lich Bane, he's got the Morellonomicon, but he hasn't really had an impact yet. And I would like to see him do something perhaps in this mid-game here.
This is what I mean by Niels not respecting. Gragas is in the bottom lane, yes, teleport is available. Amazing, not quite near the team either. And yet Niels is pushing in. Yes, they've got it warded, but they can clearly see a good few members of Reason here. And it's just plays like that that if Reason were closer in this game than they are, the Reason could easily exploit that. And that's problematic for Origen. It's that walking that fine line between playing risky and getting ahead and playing a little bit too risky and falling behind.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah,
they didn't get punished for it.
It will catch up to them very quickly, though, because as soon as Reason Gaming realize that they can go for a 5-on-5 fight, you have Zayu jumping in, you have Kuban jumping in, and then they just lose.
And at this point, Origen, they're bringing people back, but Reason had a moment there as amazing was on his own end of the turret. If they'd have had more minions, they could have looked to do something from that. But Reason still were pressuring out at the right time, and now they may very well have encircled the top lane. If they're fast up there, Reason Gaming could have locked Niels and Mithy down, but they decided to stop off for a ward kill on the way up and didn't want to commit everything to this potential 4 versus 3.
Yeah, now taking away some of the vision once again, just Origen turning their attention onto the vision game over anything else here as they did try to get some damage onto the top lane. This is a ballsy play. They literally just cleared out the ward, and Reason Gaming have pinged onto that Baron. They are closing in for this one. Kuban does not have his teleport, however, and this Baron is dropping very quickly. Amazing is looking for this smite to come down. It should be down in time. Livic as well also gets caught. There's the ultimate coming in from Gragas. Takefun also gets caught, but they will blow Mithy on the sidelines, and he has not been doing that great so far in Challenger Series. Always seems to die. But Celiva now backing off to this turret as well. So that Baron goes over, and Reason Gaming will trade a bot lane turret for it.
Great fight out of Origen, or at least great decision-making there to go for the Baron. They also pick up 2 for themselves. Yes, they trade the turret away, but Origen should get much more from this with this Baron buff in this top lane. They'd already set it up that top lane would start to push in. Now Niels and Amazing should get this inner turret as well. I don't think Zayu is going to be enough to keep this. Kuban does have teleport, so that should deter them from pushing any further in. But still, Origen are going to get a good amount of damage done. In comes Kuban. Rocket will stop him just as fast as my rap career is stopped.
It would be stopped if it even started in the first place. But we do have, Origen just kind of turning it on. They did manage to get all of that vision control now into that jungle, and that's what vision gets you. It gives you that ability to make those decisions, abilities to go for that Baron. And now with that, we'll see if they can actually make some plays in this game, because so far they've been pushing those lanes, but they've always been stymied by Reason Gaming, who were able to stop them at every hurdle. Now they should have enough where they can just kind of rocket jump over them, even though they don't have Tristana.
Things work out in strange ways anyway. But Origen right now, they know that the dragon is coming up. This is should be a pretty easy pickup for them. They've got Soaz down in the bottom lane, pushing the minions up. And a couple of people still on the lineup still have the Baron buff as well, so they should maintain map control here. And Origen actually going to take the turret first. I actually really like this.
Well, Soaz has found Celiva, though. He'll be blasting him away with the explosive cask, and the cannon minion shot will follow him all the way back to base. The bottom inner turret will be falling down for Origen. They're now 5-3 turrets. And that Ludens is doing a good job of clearing out the minion wave as Origen do back off, so they're happy with what they have for now. They are all passing over a ward as Dragon is live. It's a question of whether Reason Gaming will decide to try and contest this one. They are going towards the area, but it looks like they're thinking better of it. The Dragon is dying too quickly. Origen are just in a better position. That will be their second of the game as well. Total of 4 Dragons in this game, but they are dead even on doing so.
Oh, Zayu.
They're sitting in the sidelines. Here comes Xpeke. He doesn't choose to pull the trigger onto his glacial path. So they'll be backing away, but it did burn the ultimate from Takefun, who was pretty spooked.
Yeah, it was enough to force Reason away, because basically what Peke was saying there is, I could go on you, but I know I'm going to get charmed anyway, so I'm not going to activate it, but you have to run.
Yeah, I mean, like, as soon as Peke goes in, it's just like Onslaught of Shadows, ultimate from Zayu. It's not really worth going in that scenario.
Smart play out of Origen, though, to take that bottom turret first. A little bit of you know, maybe sight where other teams would have just rotated out to the Dragon. Basically, what that forced was Kuban to recall back to the lane, because there was the potential that Origen, with a massive stack of minions, could have started pressuring the inhibitor. I don't think they ever would have, but it was just enough to get a turret, get the Dragon, ward up, make sure that you get more from it than just a Dragon on its own.
So quite a lot of time has passed since we last looked at the items. We'll see what Soaz is doing. Looks like he's maybe even going towards a death cap now, so just going all in onto that AP build, as Celiva, or rather Takefun, is trying to take the blue buff. He'll get that eventually. Amazing in the jungle has now picked up the Warmogs as well. Mid lane got that Zhonya's, also got the ultimate. Expect it going to be very difficult to pin down in these team fights. On the opposite side, Takefun going for another Neasly Large Rod item will probably be the Zhonya's for himself.
And you know, Reason have actually looked pretty good right now, up until this point. There's still been a little bit shaky, and there's still been times where Reason have overextended, and yes, they are behind, but to be honest, this is better than we've seen out of them in the last couple of weeks, and Reason still very much so could scale well into this game and end up picking up a win. it's a tough task when you're behind against Origen to actually come back into a game, but one of the times these two played, this was the 50-minute game against Origen, so Reason, if they get to 50 minutes, they're in great shape.
If they get a pick onto Amazing, that can also help. He goes down, and Niels tries to get away. He will be using the Valkyrie to get out of this, but the coin does not quite tag Niels, so we won't get that extra movement speed. It is enough regardless for them to get away, but now with that Amazing being down, 30 seconds in the graveyard means that, well, Origen won't be pushing for the next 25 seconds.
And Reason have the setup that they want in the mid-game when it comes to where their kills are right now and where their damage is coming from. Kuban has a lot of damage, so does Ari as well in the middle lane. And Seliva's doing okay when it comes to kills. He's still down on CS. He's not had the time to sit in a lane on his own, so he is still struggling in the head-to-head. But overall, Seliva will be comfortable as we get later into this game. He'll be looking for another BF sword item soon, but Amazing gets himself back to the fight, and they're looking to pressure out Reason Gaming once again. Yeah,
I'm a little bit tentative about Origen's later game into this one, because as you mentioned, Seliva is going to get stronger. Corki is more of a mid-game AD carry. Sellers is completely going for brute force damage as an AP carry, so again, mid-game, and an Amazing as well. They're all looking towards around this time in the game to really make things happen, and they made that big play onto Baron, great, but they weren't able to take a whole lot off that apart from the bot lane turret. And now they've just kind of wandered from lane to lane with no clear goal in mind.
We'll see if they go for the Baron on respawn as well. That would be a big question in my mind, is do they have the map control? So far, vision in the topside jungle is actually abundant for both teams. Neither team has really cleared it out. They've both just got about 1 million wards up in this topside, so they know where each other are. But can Origen open up a gap big enough to take that Baron? You have to think the Reason probably won't want the head-on fight if Niels is in a good position to keep himself alive. Also, there's a fair amount of disengage from Soaz's ultimate as well, so these two teams, I wonder whether they are going to fight in that 35-second mark when the Baron comes up.
We will see. Kuban, of course, has his teleport home guards, so if he lines it up perfectly and gets it from a flank where no one really sees him from Origen, that could be devastating as he gets into the fight. And also, Origen can't kind of just keep waiting for every Baron to spawn and then take a tower and be like, all right, guys, let's wait for another 7 minutes, and we'll do this all over again. But
the next Baron would be a lot bigger a mark here for Origen when you look at it. Yeah. Soaz is actually teleporting into this fight.
He finds Soaz as he also teleports into this one. There's the ultimate, gets him as the devastating charge comes away, rather the onslaught of shadows. And the Baron has now spawned. And he's not too happy that these invaders are in his home.
Onslaught of Shadows not being available is actually massive here for Reason Gaming's fight. That is part of their engage tool, but they've managed to force Origen out by Seliva being in the middle lane, pushing towards the turret. If they can get a free turret here, that would be a nice pickup here for Reason Gaming, but Seliva doesn't quite have the damage yet. Doesn't really have that third item picked up, and Seliva riskily stands on the tunnel there to make sure it drops. But Reason force Origen away from the Baron and have secured vision control for themselves.
Yeah, unless they catch Seliva off guard with a Grag Assault or a Miffy ult or any CC. I mean, they're fairly short range when you look at it. Unless Seliva makes a mistake, he's never really gonna die. You have the Janna there, he's got the rocket jump, he has a beefy front line. So it's going to be very difficult to get to Seliva as this game drags on. Origen now circling around the Baron for the maybe the 50th time, and we'll see if this time it goes a little better for them. Of course, Kuban's teleport is now off the board, so that's something they don't have to deal with. Zayu has found Amazing, but Xpeki is just in the jungle. He tries to get a catch onto Seliva. This is what they need, but it's not enough damage. He also gets exhausted, and now that is Takefun getting away using his Spirit Rush. But another one down for the count. Niels is also out of commission. He's way too low. Will he just try and lifesteal up? It looks like maybe to be the case. It's risky to stick around though.
Again, Origen just not respecting Reason at all. Xpeki is just deep into the enemy jungle, just standing between 4 people as he tries to get Seliva and didn't even get it. However, Origen will look to take Dragon from this. Zayu is here as well. The rest of his team aren't quite in position. They're pushing this down. Ooh. Last minute smite.
Yeah, that will be Kuban, Zayu, Libic trying to chase up the back of Origen as they escape from the Dragon Pit. They now have 3 dragons, total of 5 in this game. 35 minutes into this game, giving up on the Baron game for now, while Dragon has spawned. But these team fights, or these last sequence of events, have not really gone the way of Origen. And you know, before Champion Select, we said how they're a team of 5 carries. Every single player on that team can carry a game. But if they're all playing like that, if they're all trying to play like a carry, like FLICKR was just then, sitting in their jungle, trying to go 1v5 and being like, ha, I can take the entire team, that's what happens. You'll die for it. You'll get punished by Reason Gaming, who are acting like a cohesive unit right now.
One of the problems I'm kind of feeling the vibe from Origen right now is, although they're trying to carry, the fact that they've not had, you know, an overabundance of success on it in this game. Nobody is like 9-2 when you look at it. That they're feeling perhaps a little bit headless. That they're like, okay, well, we're not carrying, we're not kind of killing them, we'll just go back to Baron. Okay, we can't get them, we didn't get them on that kill, let's just go back to Baron again, and we'll sit here and we'll try and catch them again.
Yeah.
Rather than controlling everything, now they've finally got, it looks like bottom lane may just about push in favor of Origen, and Amazing is clearing out the top lane as well. But this isn't the same Origen we've been seeing throughout the group stage. This isn't the 3 lanes of pressure Origen that are just constantly smothering their opponents. And this is going to sound strange because it's a banner of command and we don't see it very often, but that's actually what we saw out of Mithy in this series, was when they ran double banner of command, one on Soaz, one on Mithy, and that helped them out in that series. I wonder whether Mithy is going to opt for that later on into this game, or whether he's just going to be too starved for the gold for this game. He's only 0-3-2.
Yeah, it would require a swap-up of mindset from Origen, because so far, as you mentioned very accurately, all they're doing is doing some stuff, going to Baron, doing some stuff and getting caught, as Amazing is in the mid lane, trying to get that flail down, does not land onto the backside of Amazing. There's the last charge of ultimate, and he has been caught out. Zayu comes in, Limit chimes in with the Zephyr, again Amazing gets caught out, and you think back to the game they lost against Lowland Lands, he was the one who went 1-6, and it looks like history is going to repeat itself.
And Reason Gaming are playing this out very smart. They're never caught off guard by Origen being a Baron. Never are they rushing in saying, okay, well, we have to challenge you, as they are headed back to the Baron area once again. I mean, Origen do know there is the rest of the map that isn't just Baron right now. They've started Baron, and they have no jungler. This is suicidal, Origen. Do not go for this, because Zayu is around. He has his smite available. You don't need to stand there waiting for the team to try and walk into you, because it's not happening again.
It feels like they've just stopped talking to each other. They've stopped communicating.
Origen right now have what I would dub Copenhagen Wolves syndrome. Is they got ahead in the early game and the mid game, and they just don't know what to do with it in this particular game. And it's a problem that Copenhagen Wolves have had in many of their LCS games, where they just say, okay, let's go to Baron, and they never actually end up taking it. And that's kind of what's happened now.
Yeah, if we dissect a lot of Origen's wins, it's all been from, well, we've dominated our respective roles, and now we just push them in because we're stronger. Now they're in an even game. You saw how long it took them to close out the game against Reason. We saw so many back and forth fights back in week 2, and it was really down to that final fight. You remember it was 5 Dragons Reason up against the Barons of Origen, and it really was down to that final fight which decided it. So Reason Gaming just found the Achilles heel of Origen, just taking them to these longer games where Origen's decision-making is put to the test. And this is 3 weeks, 4 weeks down the line, and it's still a problem for them.
And Reason don't exactly have to make that many decisions in the late game. When you look at their team comp, all they have to do is Zayu ultimate into Ahri and Tristana blowing everybody up in the late game. They have Janna to disengage, they have Hecarim Fear if they really need to use it, and also use that as further engage as well. So Reason have a very clear-cut strategy here that means they needn't fight on their enemies' terms. Kuban has teleport available, so does Soaz, but it's Amazing that heads up to that top lane to push it in. Origen have done nothing. What?
Soaz gets caught along with Neil. So much damage from the burst. Take Fun will be blown up by XPeke, but there's the follow-up by Kuban. Devastating charge from the onslaught of shadows. He'll be taking down his opponent. Zayu comes in with the Arctic Assault. He drops low himself. Celeber now on the front lines, completely untouched. Amazing from the left-hand side, trying to get an engage down onto the retreating Reason Gaming. He's trying to get this engage to happen. Sees them with the Tremor Sense, but he's basically blind as a mole unless he he gets the rest of the team around him, plus those wards. That was a 1-for-1 trade. Mid laner for top lane. XPeke, what was that? Completely caught off guard. Selva now sitting on top of XPeke. He goes down.
Why did Niels, Mithy, and Amazing go towards Baron? They showed themselves again. XPeke was alone in the mid lane. They may very well pick off Zayu here, but he actually got a massive spike of health from smiting Red. Amazing has to flash. Origen are just completely blowing this at this point in the game. They're trying to force Barons by using Amazing's ult to get halfway across the map. Then they stand on a ward and don't respect the engage out of Reason Gaming. I don't know what Origen are doing right now, but they have no clear plan.
This is the headless chicken play, I believe, Stress. And Origen, yes, they're still ahead, but they're ahead by 600 gold, which is, at 40 minutes, literally nothing.
Against a 4-item Tristana.
Against a 4-item Tristana, who we have been talking about throughout the game, who is going to become a problem. We've also spoken about the fact that Origen, unless they catch Selva off guard, will pretty much never die with his team composition built around him. This is looking like not quite game set and match just yet for game 1, but that's the third dragon of the game, or rather the 6th dragon of the game for the 3rd dragon for Reason Gaming. 6 dragons in this game and it's dead even. Typically, we would see a game where Origen just take everything.
Typically, but this hasn't been typically. And we, you know, coming into this game, Origen discussed how they prefer playing when the pressure is on them. And the pressure certainly is on them right now. The world is watching Origen standing around doing not too much in these fights. They need a good fight here to actually be able to do anything. The problem is they don't have the health by the fact they're running a single tank here that is not that when their top laner has only built damage. Look how much damage Soas takes.
Going to go down. They did manage to get out of the Zayu ultimate here. Amazing is still off to the north side of the fight. Zayu is still trying to lead the charge. Take Fun comes through with a nice Orb of Deception, which was zone Niels away. But again, they go back to kind of posturing and trying to get into a fight.
At this point, what Origen need to be doing is using their teleport advantage. Kubon still doesn't have his for another minute. If Origen go towards Baron right now, I actually am going to facepalm quite hard. Because if they start this out, just showing their teleport straight onto the Baron area when they do not have top lane and bottom lane pushing. This is not how you take a Baron,
Am
Origen.
I watching Season 3 Dignitas? Is this what's happening, Stress?
It honestly looks like it, because this is not how you set up a Baron when you've been ahead. This is how you riskily do it, and they're coin flipping that they get it. Take Fun
just walks into them though, and he will be taken down. So the mistake from Reason Gaming, this might work out for them.
There's the coin flip play, but look, the Baron is still at 5,000 health. So Zayu can still steal this. The problem is, for Reason, they've just had one of their carries taken out by stepping forward a little too close, so unless they can smite it away...
Oh, that was too close for comfort, but Zayu will go down. 2 kills over to Origen. Niels was the one to pick up the Baron.
Oh man, that is a risky play out by Origen. That is not what you want to see from any team looking to get themselves into the LCS, to just try and 50-50 a Baron play, but getting gifted a little bit by Take Fun stepping forward, not being able to Zhonya's himself and get away from that either. So, man, Origen, they're straight back on in the lead of this game, and that should be enough for them to look to close it out. But man, have they not looked consistent for the last 20 minutes.
Though. Yeah, I have to agree with you. As Kubon comes in from the side, he'll be looking for this fight. Niels is ticking down from the Ignite. One more tick will secure the kill, not quite enough. He'll get some of that health back with his regen, but that is enough to stop them in their tracks for now.
And again, positioning out by Niels. The one player we've said has had great positioning this entire group stage has been Niels. His late game positioning is everything that everybody was talking about, how Origen are going to easily sweep Reason away. His positioning this game, his carrying this game has not been on form. 0-1-3 is a stat line we have almost never seen from Niels past week 1 of the group stage. And he steps forward again. And again, the disrespect to Reason Gaming.
Yeah, it was actually the qualifiers in which we were saying he was not really performing, and then he turned up in the round robin. So yeah, but the point is made. It was so long ago, and this is the first time where he's really just done a 180. Whereas Selva is doing pretty much the opposite.
Yeah,
he has really just gone 4-0-2, unkilled in this game. Positioning has been on point, and that's what they need in this game. They need him not to die. There is the initiate from Miffy, but it's just a drop in the ocean, and that's one big engage tool down. So has User's ultimate as well.
It was a big stun, and a lot of the team fight presence used here. Bottom lane is pushing in towards Origen. This is what they should fix, top and bottom, before they push mid. You have Baron. It means that you just got to clear that wave. Your middle lane will push with one of your members in there anyway. You'll easily force a big wave into the top side, and even when you leave it and the Baron buff's gone, it's still fine. You have more minions as it is. But Reason, they know what they have to react with here, and it's a push in mid.
Yeah, they have caught Origen with their pants down because Amazing was just sitting in the jungle. Okay, he's going to duck the minion wave to try and take this away, but he misses half of it. So there's still minions coming into the mid lane. However, Reason Gaming do make the play to go into the top lane now, and don't do that either, so they just back off into their base. So it was Origen reacting just in time, but again, Reason Gaming really have their head screwed on right. They are making decisive plays.
Nobody is down in that bottom lane clearing it out for Origen. I'm actually quite shocked. FLICKR was down there. FLICKR is still towards that half of the map.
Get a ZZ Rock portal.
I don't think it's quite that dire yet, but and this may seem really harsh on Origen, but we're holding them to the high standard that we've seen from them in the group stage, which I don't think is too unfair. When you know a team can play a lot more solid than they are playing right now, it's surprising to actually see them missing out on the little things.
We have been talking about Origen as if they've already been or already are going to be an LCS team.
Everyone has.
Everyone has. Yeah, you'll be. It'll be hard to find a person who hasn't been. But performances like this do not inspire the vast majority of people with hope, and unless they're looking to really just make a big turnaround, not only in this game but throughout this best-of-3 series, this is where they're really going to start struggling, and this will be a problem in the future if they don't fix it.
Still, nobody has sorted bottom wave. This has been like this for about a minute and a half that it's been slow pushing in towards Origen, and now because of it, Reason already have the presence over this dragon area. This would be their 4th of the game. So Origen still need to fight them, or at least stop them from doing it. Teleports are going to just about be up for Soaz. He can't, not yet. He's still a couple of seconds on the teleport.
He's looking for the devastating charge. He's dancing back and forth, trying to get the initiate onto Niels. The dragon goes down over to Zayu and the team of Reason Gaming, and Kubon looped all the way around into the bot side of his team, and now he's going to take a trip back to base.
Origen can look to push mid, though, because Reason are out of position from the teleport being on the wrong side. Can Origen deny Reason Gaming's defense here? It doesn't actually look like it. Reason will have regrouped in time.
Now, can they clear the minion wave out? Well, the minion wave consists of a couple caster minions and a cannon minion. Amazing just walks into the base, takes a chunk of laser damage to his void face. Neil's trying to clear out the minion wave as well. In comes the rocket, in comes the poke. Celeber, he just needs to stay alive if this fight erupts. That's a lot of damage going onto the turret. Reason Gaming don't really want to be taking damage themselves, but it's more important that they tank up the damage for the turret, because eventually when that goes down, it will be a fight on equal terms as they fight over the inhibitor. Amazing trying to go for the split push up against Kubon, who is now just pushing him away with the constant rampages.
I mean, that's what they need to be doing, is having Amazing up in that top lane, just shoving the wave, backing away.
Oh, great ult! 3 players. Xpeke will be going into his invulnerable form. Kubon as well with a follow-up. There comes the rampage. Takefun trying to get the kill onto Amazing. He will do so. 80 seconds in the graveyard. Soaz comes back into the fight. Miffy is there as well. Monsoon blows him away. Celeber is now looking to do some rampaging of his own. He picks up another kill. 3 for 1. Only Takefun dies from Reason Gaming.
Reason Gaming with a great engage in front of their inhibitor. It should just be enough to at least take bottom tower, potentially a mid inhibitor, but then reset for Baron as well. That is exactly what Reason Gaming needed to kind of take control here, because Celeber was untouched that entire fight. And Origen just have no way of getting to Celeber in these fights either.
Yeah, Celeber, his Bloodthirster's shield was not even cracked during that fight. He now takes this and will be tanking up with that shield. Now they go onto the inhibitor. They get the objective that Origen were looking for themselves in the mid lane, and Reason Gaming pull ahead. 4,000 gold behind, but they have just caught up massively in the objective game, and they have 4 dragons. They are 1 dragon away from getting their 5th of the game, which will really just put them in fighting form to just go head on for another engagement. And they're pretty much winning these fights even without that.
And this would be a massive, massive win for Reason Gaming. They're a team that, I guess when you look at things coming out of the group stage, shouldn't have been here. in the playoffs. And the fact that they're taking Origen to the limit, the gold advantage, yes, is in favor of Origen, but that is about it right now. Origen, however, in position for this Baron. No teleport on Kuban. He's going to have to home guard his way there. This is a risky two-man start on it, because if somebody comes over that wall, it could be enough, but they've got a good amount of damage done. Kuban's on his way here. This is Origen are rolling the dice again.
50 this, they just can't. Zayu comes in again, initiates onto the back line. There's the second initiate from Kuban, and they are ripping apart the back line from Origen. However, Zayu did eventually go down. Neil's training off against Takefun in the back lines. Peke does go invulnerable, but Amazing will be also taking down his opponent. Niels is finally down. Amazing is ticking up, and Libic is looking to pick up the kill. And
the
it
ace.
will be the ace.
That's
5,
it.
4, 2. This is Reason Gaming looking to close up this game.
This is going to be game one, going to Reason Gaming. Origen with, you know, just the misplays again and again, and Reason capitalizing on every single one of them. 6-0-6 on Celiva was exactly what they needed from their AD carry.
This is an alternate ending from what we saw from Week 2 Stress. The 50-minute game this time went over to the side of Reason Gaming. They go for the first Nexus turret. There's the second. Big smiles on their faces for sure as they take down the Nexus of Origen. This is the first game in the best of 3 going over to Reason Gaming.
What a game from Reason Gaming. I mean, they got behind, and then they just stayed close enough that their composition would scale better into the late game. And I mean, kudos to Celiva. 6-0-6 is exactly what he needed to do in this game. He fell massively behind on CS, but Reason had a game plan. They knew that they would outscale, and they did, and Origen looked headless at times.
Insane. That is Origen 1 game away from going into 3rd place. And they will be playing in the promotion tournament if that's the case, if they manage to beat Gamers 2, who were, again, very similar to that performance from Origen. And that is, I don't think, anything anyone expected. Look at the fan vote. 93% of you thought that Origen were going to take that decisively. We were probably sitting in the same boat as well by the start of that game. Reason Gaming have put a seed of doubt in a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a little bit of doubt right now, but that was only game 1. It is a best-of-3 series.
Yeah, so we're going to head to a short break before we get back to game 2 of our second semi-final. Stay tuned.